Hi guys, today we're going to be doing a annual reset. So we're going to be chatting about how this year went and then what my plans are for next year. So let's start off with goals. For this year, my first goal was to start working part-time, which I did accomplish. I think this happened around March of this year, and then there was a brief stint in the summertime where I got another job and became full-time, and then a few months later quickly quit that job. Now I'm back to part-time. And I think it's gonna stay that way indefinitely. I can't see myself ever going back to full-time work. It's just entirely too much. And then the benefits at this stage in my life like outweigh the cons, which the main con is that I get less money. And but in exchange for that, I have more flexibility with my schedule, free time, and I get to like focus on things that I actually enjoy versus working. So I'm happy that I managed to get that goal accomplished. And then the other goal that I had was to max my retirement account, and we still have I think like a week and a half of December still, but for sure this is gonna happen because this is predetermined. Like I've already set these payroll deductions. So I wanted to max up my 401k 403b. So for this year that is 22,500, and then my Roth IRA I already maxed out earlier in the year, and that was 6,500. Other exciting goal that I accomplished this year was to become financially independent. I have a whole playlist about this series, but essentially I now have enough money invested to maintain my basic cost of living somewhat indefinitely. No one really knows if you withdraw 4% off your income for more than the average retirement years, which, let's see, maybe that would be around 30 years, but obviously I'm quite young, so it'd be more than 30 years, and it hasn't been determined if your money would last that long. But still, I have the basics for now, and of course I will continue to add to it as I am still working, so I have no doubt that I will have more than enough money to retire with when that time comes for sure. Other goal of mine was to decrease my belongings in half, which I did not do. However, I did make some progress in terms of decluttering. Finally, I've been talking about it for like, I think 2 years now, but this year I finally actually started doing something about it. So I started donating things, selling things, and I'm making progress, and I still have the momentum. So I'm happy that I did do that. And then the other goal that I had was to body recomp, and I'm not fully where I want to be, but I've definitely made great progress so far. I think this is the first time in my entire adult life that I have managed to use nutrition and exercise to accomplish something. In the past, it used to be I would only exercise and then I would never get the body that I wanted because nutrition plays a huge role. But however, when I got the two down together, I was able to get results, and I'm excited to see how I look next year as well. Now, when I was first reflecting on the year, I didn't really feel like I did accomplish much, but then doing the exercise for this and like getting everything organized, I was like, you know, actually I did do a lot. I didn't do fully what I wanted to do, but I did get a lot done. So I need to give myself more credit for for what I have done in life. I don't give myself enough credit. But moving on, I thought it would be fun to talk about my top spending categories. So last year I did the same thing. I talked about my top spending categories as well as the amounts that I spend. And then mid-year for this year, I've already talked about how much I have spent mid-year through the year. So now I'm actually just gonna talk about the budgeting categories, and we're gonna start from the bottom. Let me know if you can guess what the top category is. I doubt anyone will get it right, but who knows, you might. So number 10 is gonna be taxes. So those are strictly property taxes. I didn't have to pay any income taxes, thankfully. Then at number 9 is fees, and those are financial fees. So I have an Amex, which is around $695 annual fee, and then the Sapphire Reserve, which I've honestly forgotten the fee for that, but combined it was like over $1,000 for both of them. And then number 8 is personal care. You guys know I love me some personal care. Like I'm always buying. I'm really into skin, like both on my face and like body care as well. So I definitely spent a pretty penny there. Number 7 is bills, and those are things that you can't really escape. So cell phone, electricity, internet. Number 6 is going to be health and fitness. So the majority of this actually is Pilates, followed by supplements and equipment. The most I've spent on equipment is, as you can see behind me, is my squat rack there. And we're gonna chat about the favorites, but that is definitely in there. And then number 5 is food. So that involves groceries and restaurants. On a day-to-day, I'm not really a restaurant person, but when I go on vacation, you know, it's kind of inevitable. And then this year, it might have been the first time that I've actually done fine dining, but this year I did some fine dining and it was amazing. So yeah, I can't say something I'm gonna do on the regular, but I feel like if you're with the right person, it's like a great thing to do. And then 4th is going to be home. So this year I had to replace my HVAC, so that made up the most of this. And then of course usual maintenance, and then I bought a few furniture pieces. Number 3, shopping. I do enjoy shopping, and I enjoy some things more than others. Over the years that has like changed. Like I used to be really into clothes, then I realized I had like too much clothes, so then I stopped buying clothes. Same thing with shoes, things like that. So that is not what I spent money on, but I still managed to spend a good amount of money. So I went to Chanel a couple of times, so that is the most expensive part of this shopping category. Then I bought some electronics, and then activewear. I think I mentioned this, I spent like $1,000 on Lululemon for clothes that I needed. And then jewelry, I really love jewelry, and of course jewelry is expensive, unfortunately. So yeah, that is 3rd on the list. And then 2nd on the list, you probably already guessed that this would be at the top, and that would be travel. So this year I went on several trips. I went on 5 trips total, if I believe correctly, and I went to several countries. I don't even know how many countries, if I think about it, probably at least 10 countries. So I was definitely doing it up. And then I had a few luxury stays, which of course pushed this budget to number 2. So no regrets there. Like I love traveling, I had a great time, so there's that. And then number 1 is my car, and the majority of that is car payments. I have a very expensive car. I've chatted about it numerous times, so that's number 1. And then maintenance was a small part of that, because the maintenance for said expensive car is also expensive. So those are my top spending categories. Let me know if you guys know like what your top spending categories are for this year. I would love to know. I find that fascinating, of course. And now we're gonna move on to my savings goals for the year and if I actually made them. First goal we kind of already chatted about. So I wanted to max out the 401k and the Roth. So I made those savings goals. And then the other thing that I had was to put $5,500 in my brokerage account. I honestly didn't think I had made this goal. I'm not sure why. I think because it's a huge departure from what I normally do. So historically, before I became part-time, I used to aggressively save the majority of my income and put it in my brokerage account. Then when I became part-time, I was unable to do that. So I only put money in there like when I had an excess of money. So I wasn't doing it regularly, and then it felt like I wasn't really doing anything. So I was like, I don't think I made this goal. But then I checked my deposits in preparation for this video, and I actually put in $10,000 in my brokerage account this year. So basically almost double that amount. So yeah, I guess that's a great thing. And then the other saving categories were effectively sinking funds. And because there were sinking funds, I did spend the money, but I actually also met the savings goal, even though I spent it. But that was the whole point, right? To spend it, but to make sure that I had the money to do so. So travel, I had a goal of 8,000, luxury 5,500, and then spending 10,000. So made all my savings goals for this year, even though I was part-time. So that's good. Let's move on to yearly favorites. I enjoyed a lot of things this year. So this wasn't like that easy to do, but I only narrowed it down to 10 things. I didn't want to be here all day. So let's chat about them. So first things first, we're going to chat about my favorite candle. So this is the Eucalyptus by Diptyque. I, of course, have mentioned it in my monthly favorites as well, but it's just such a good scent, such a good vibe, very relaxing, and I've been loving it come fall. This is kind of like, for me, is like a fall and winter scent because it's nice because of like it's chilly and it gets dark easy, so I like to burn this when it starts to get dark, which is like 5 p.m. up until I go to bed, and it's just like very relaxing, very calming, sets the mood for like the nighttime. I don't know, it just makes me feel like really good and relaxed, and that is a feeling that is not easy to come by. So I appreciate that I can get it from this candle. So highly recommend. If you like eucalyptus, you will love this. It smells exactly like a eucalyptus plant, like a fresh eucalyptus plant, and that I have found is hard to come by in candles, so that is a definite fave. And in fact, I'm going to buy 1 or 2 more when I go on my vacation. I usually like to buy them in Europe because then I can get the VAT back, because they are quite expensive if you buy them in America. Another favorite we're gonna talk about, and I've already chatted about this actually, but Switzerland. That was my favorite experience of the year. It was just like such a vibe, like the mountains and the hotel that we stayed at, and just everything was like so good. Definitely my favorite memory in terms of experiences this year. And then other things that I enjoyed, this is a recent acquisition, but I got a vertical mouse. I have mentioned that I've been having wrist issues, and most of that is a ergonomic slash like lifestyle, like the way that I do things could be done more correctly, and by doing them incorrectly, like I have caused my wrist to become inflamed. So this mouse is nice because, as you can see, like your hand is like this, so your wrist is not like bending up and down. As with a traditional mouse, like you're like moving your hand in this way, which moves your joint up, and this you're not having to move your joints, you're just moving your entire hand and then using your fingers to select things. So it's been a great improvement for my wrist issues, so definitely money well spent. Along similar lines, I got a standing desk, and it's been nice because of the adjustments that you can make for your posture and whatnot. But the thing that I love the most about it is that it makes me very productive. Like prior to this, I had a sit-down desk and I never wanted to use it. I bought it specifically to do things for YouTube, and I just like sitting down like was just like I had no motivation to sit down and do it. But now that I have a standing desk, I'm highly motivated to stand up and do it. It just makes me feel like very productive. So the standing desk was a win. And then favorite shows, I've watched a ton of shows this year and I enjoyed a lot of them, so I had to like look back as to see like what came out this year. But I think in terms of favorites, I'm gonna say it was Vikings Valhalla. First of all, I love the whole like Vikings franchise. I watched the old series, and then now I'm watching the new series, and I just love it. Like I love the main character. His name is like Leif, as in like Leif Erikson, who was a real person, but the story was just good. There's lots of eye candy. I don't know, I just love it. So favorite show of this year. And then a favorite book, also another one where I've read tons of books that I enjoyed, but I just picked one. So this is going to be The Shadow Between Us, and this was just like a good book overall. I think the main character like solidified it for me, plus the story, of course. I just found her to be, she was like a go-getter for sure. She knew what she wanted and she set out to do so. And then she was also like quite clever. So just like very good. And then of course, just like the conversation between her and other people in general was just like fun. There were like tons of points when I was like laughing. It was just like very well done all around. So yeah. And then I definitely wanted to mention another book that I really enjoyed was The Psychology of Money. I think I listened to it. I got the audiobook version earlier in the year, and it was just like a really good book. Like I know a lot about finance, like that's like my second passion, or I don't know what order it would be in terms of passion, but it's definitely up there. So I know a lot about finance in general, but I found the book just like very good. It just like solidified things that I already knew, and like gave me the motivation to like keep doing what I was doing. So I highly recommend that book if you're getting into finance and you need motivation and then just general guidance on how to like do things. It's more of a personal development book, so it'll change your mindset about finance. It's not necessarily to like tell you exactly step by step what to do, but it's a good start. So highly recommend that book if you're interested in finance or like changing your way of thinking about money. Moving on, we're gonna talk about the squat rack behind me. So I didn't want to get the squat rack, but I made a decision that I wanted to change my body for the better, and that required me getting a squat rack because it's very hard to, if you're gonna do squats, like clean and press the barbell above your head above a certain weight, because there's only so much weight that you can, you know, push above your head. So to move on in my fitness journey, I had to get a squat rack, and I am happy that I did. It has definitely taken my fitness journey to the next level, and I did have some hesitation about getting it and where to put it because it's like in my living room, which is not necessarily where I want it to be, but it actually, because of the colors, quite kind of blends in and I don't really notice it most of the time. It's just like kind of there. So in the end, it didn't bother me as much as I thought it would, and it helped me to like accomplish my fitness goals. So definitely recommend, once you like move up in terms of your weightlifting goal, to get a squat rack, especially if you're not like a person that likes to go to the gym like me. Like there's just too much going on at the gym. I find the whole experience exhausting. So you can definitely get one for your house. I put this together myself with no help, so it's definitely possible to do that yourself if you're concerned about that. So love the squat rack. It's a definite fave. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is my key holder. I think that's what it's called. This is from Louis Vuitton. I got this, actually I don't know when I got this. I think I got it like last year actually, but for the longest time I was just like, why did I get this? I mean, I know where I got it. I wanted like a way to organize my keys that was like aesthetic, because I hate like having a bunch of keys like together. Just does not look good, and like depending on your bag, you can like scratch up your bag and whatnot. But the thing about this is, once you figure out how to get it set up, it's actually quite nice and it serves multiple functions. So these keys on the inside here, like you can see, I have them on multiple keychains, so they hang down and they're flat in there, and those are the ones that I use infrequently. And then the keys that I do use frequently, which are my house keys, and then I have my key fob hanging down. I know some people will try to put it in here and it doesn't work. It makes it too bulky, so definitely it works to have the key fob down here. And then the other great thing about this is that it has a slot right here so you can put cards in it. So I have put my driver's license and then credit card that I use, and then now that I've been using Apple Pay, like both of my credit cards that I use the most are on there, so I don't need to carry as many credit cards. And then other things that you would normally carry in your wallet, like insurance cards, like those can be saved on your phone. So it's been nice because I can just get up and go. Like I don't need another wallet, and it's been nice like when I like go out after work or something, like everything I need is like right in this thing. And of course it's very cute and aesthetic. So definitely recommend if this is going to be like your first luxury purchase, because it fills a couple of functions. Of course, it holds your keys and it holds your cards and money, of course, if you carry cash, which I don't. But yeah. And then the last thing in the favorites, I definitely need to include some skincare. So I think this year the best skincare that I have experienced has been the Drunk Elephant Bouncy Brightful Mask, and this is a azelaic acid and salicylic acid serum. Effectively, it's a triple antioxidant brightening complex. Now, I am all about brightening and exfoliation, and this does both things, which is a rare combo to find in one product. So I really like it for that. I definitely noticed a huge difference in my skin with using it. So I basically gotten rid of all my other serums, and now I use this plus vitamin C and then a moisturizer and an oil, and my skin has been loving it. So highly recommend if you have like hyperpigmentation concerns and if you want to keep your skin smooth and glowy. So that's it for favorites. Now let's move on to our plans for 2024. Feels so weird to say that, but yeah. So of course, I'm gonna continue to max out my retirement accounts. There is something exciting though. So the usual 401k, 403b, that's gonna be $23,000 for this year. And then the Roth IRA, that's going to be $7,000. So both those increased from last year, so that's great. And then now for the first time, my job is offering an HSA. So I am able to contribute $4,150 this year as well. So I'm very excited about the ability to like stock away money in a tax advantage way. So that is one of my goals for next year. Then the second goal is to pay off my Lexus. So this is going to be the last year of my loan is going to be over in 2025. However, I plan to have all the money to pay off the last year of my loan in 2024 because I am over paying like a car payment. Also, by paying off the car, aka saving the money and paying it off through next year, I have more immediate money from my paycheck to do and spend on other things and to save and invest. So that is the plan. Other goals, we're gonna continue with the decreasing my belongings by half. I am committed to doing that. And I figured out some things that will help me in the process. Most of it is like a mindset shift. So I had to realize that some things are just not worth your time and energy to sell online because the return on investment is very low. And if I spent that time at work, I would be making several times as much money. So it's more worthwhile to go to work than to waste my time like selling things online. So all the items that I have that are low value will be sent to Goodwill, Salvation Army or whatever, so donated. And then anything that is high resale value, then I will spend the time to list that online. And then I have a few things that are large, I have to sell them locally. And then I am recycling or tossing anything else that cannot be sold. My other goal, and this is exciting because I haven't really talked about this before, but it is to apprendre le français. So I am trying to learn French. For the longest time, I have wanted to learn a language, but for several reasons, like I spent like a decade of my life in school doing other things I never did. And traditionally, learning languages in school was just not for me because the whole premise of school, I disliked it entirely. Like it was very anxiety provoking with the deadlines and the requirements and the public speaking, etc. So I never did fully learn any language in school, even though I did study them for some time. So now that I have the free time and I've discovered like my learning style, like I have decided to try and learn a language. So that's gonna be French. So how I've been doing that so far, and I want to at least get 1 year in, and then I can decide like, you know, if this is like a thing that I want for sure. I've been doing Duolingo, which is, you know, free and fun. And then I have a few audiobooks, and a new thing that I've been doing is actually consuming French content. So you guys know I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I have found like French people that like talk about topics that I enjoy, and I've been like watching like their vlogs and stuff. So that's been another way. And then depending on how things go, eventually I might need a tutor because I actually need to practice the actual speaking. The pronunciation I can like, you know, basically parrot like what they say on Duolingo or the audiobooks, but in terms of like bringing the language forth in situations, like I think it would be helpful to have someone to talk to about that. I am going to France, so I will have some time to practice as well. So there's that. But yeah, so that's something new. And then another goal of mine that I've also never mentioned before, but I'm bringing everything into the light. Not everything, just some things. So I want to do more social activities, and I've talked about this to a certain degree, and I have improved like from how I have been in the past, but I need to like take it up like several octaves, as they say. So, okay, camera cut off, and I'm not sure where it cut off. So let's assume it's finished at doing more social activities. So I wanted to start doing more social activities just to like grow myself as a person, because it's not something that I'm normally inclined to do. I am definitely more of an introvert and also suffer from some social anxiety, and that in combination, the two combinations make it so that I'm not necessarily like inclined to do these things. However, it will be nice to meet new people and, you know, do different things. So in order to accomplish these social activities, I've decided to visit new places locally. So historically, I would do activities in the same places on a weekly basis, and I'm thinking of going out to new places and like doing activities that require me to go out of the house. So normally I make coffee at home, but it would be nice to like every once in a while go out and grab a coffee or spend some time in a coffee shop and just like be outside and around people. And then other things that I'm thinking of, I've already chatted about this in my weekly videos, but that is to do an activity once a month. And I have done this on and off, but I haven't like been very aggressive with it. And now I've decided to take the initiative to do it. So I have made a list of all the social events that I think I would be interested in for 2024, and I have the dates so I can request those times off for work if I want to do it, like plan out my budget. So I have like the things in place to accomplish it versus like waiting till the month off and then being like, oh, like I can't do this because I don't have like the time off to go, etc. So I'm really committed to doing that for next year. And then as part of that, I would like to like engage more with others. As I mentioned, I'm not really into socializing. I find socializing for the most part draining. Only socializing that I don't find draining is with people that I already know and already know me, so I don't have to like worry about their opinion of me, versus like if it's someone new, then I have to like effectively, or I'm usually more conscious of like what I'm doing, and then of course it's exhausting. But I find that if I engage with people like periodically or like here and there, like if I go to the grocery store and I'm like nice to the cashier or say hi to someone as I'm walking, like that I can do and not be exhausted. So I need to like do more of that versus like being in my mind and like, you know, etc, etc. So the goal is to do more social events and then be more social to some degree, not entirely. Not like I'm not gonna become a socialite necessarily. I find the whole thing exhausting, as I mentioned, but it will be good to be able to like switch between the two as needed. So that is something that I'm going to work on next year. And then finally, as I mentioned, I'm still on my body recomposition journey, so I will be doing what's required for that. So that is to increase my protein intake, and then I want to minimize the amount of processed food that I eat, and I've been doing that like over the past several months on the journey, but I'm going to continue to do that. And then in line with that, I want to eat more whole foods and physical activity daily. That I have in the last few months managed to do. Even if I'm at work, like I take a time out to put in a 30-minute walk if I have some free time and just keep moving. And then when I'm not at work, I of course have no excuse not to work out, and I usually work out every day in some degree, so I want to continue to do that. So that is going to be it in terms of goals for 2024. Let me know what you guys have planned and how your year went. I love to hear about it, and I will see you in the next video.